In the years following the Second Wizarding War, Hogwarts was a different place. The once darkened corridors now held a renewed warmth, a buzzing energy left behind the stories of the heroes we once knew. For young witches and wizards, the names of Harry Potter, Hermione Granger, and Ron Weasley had become legendary, whispered like myths, inspiring an entire generation. For one student, Logan, a third-year Ravenclaw with a natural curiosity and a knack for getting into trouble, these tales were fuel to his already relentless spirit. He could often be found in the Hogwarts library poring over books about Dumbledore's army, the Order of the Phoenix, and of course the final epic battle. Every inch of Hogwarts seemed to hold some magic left over from those battles, and Logan wanted to find it. One autumn evening, while wandering near the entrance of the Room of Requirement, Logan overheard a couple of 7th-year Gryffindors whispering about a hidden room deep within the castle that had yet to be rediscovered since the war. Rumor had it that Harry Potter himself used it to escape from traps set by Death Eaters. The tales call it the Room of Shadows, a place of untamed magic that only opened to those who truly needed to hide. The idea was irresistible. Surely a room that could hide the legendary Harry Potter from Death Eaters was worth investigating. Ignoring his friend Darcy's warnings about the detentions and hexes, Logan decided he had to find it. What harm could it do to have a little adventure? For days, Logan prowled the castle halls, searching for anything that might hint at the room's existence. He memorized passages from maps, traced symbols carved into old stones, and even tried a few incantations from spells he wasn't supposed to know. Darcy, who couldn't help but tag along despite her worry, reluctantly joined him on his search, drawn into the mystery as much as Logan. One evening, as they explored the dungeons after curfew, Logan noticed something peculiar. The faint outline of a door on a section of the wall that looked more worn than others. Excited, he murmured, "Open for me. I need to see." The wall shimmered and rippled, revealing a dark, narrow passage. Darcy gasped, clutching his sleeve. But Logan was already stepping inside. The passage opened into a cavernous room, dimly lit by floating orbs of pale blue light. Shadows twisted along the walls and the air felt thick with magic, old and powerful. At the center of the room stood a pedestal with a small, strange object, a silver amulet engraved with runes. In his eagerness, Logan reached out to touch it, ignoring Darcy's urgent whispers to leave it alone. But the moment his fingers brushed the amulet, a surge of cold magic shot up his arm, and the shadows in the room grew darker, stretching towards him. His vision blurred, and he heard faint whispers as if the castle itself were murmuring in some forgotten language. The amulet was enchanted, a relic left behind perhaps by those who had used the room during the war, and it had set a curse upon him. As he staggered back, the shadows clung to him, his arm now feeling as though it were encased in ice. The amulet's power was still bound to the darkness of its past, and now Logan was bound to it. In a panic, Logan and Darcy rushed to Professor Flitwick, who, after examining the curse, wore an expression of grave concern. "This amulet," he murmured, "holds the remnants of an ancient protective magic. It seems to have fused with you, Logan, and it will continue to haunt you until you fulfill its purpose." The old professor went on to explain that many objects at Hogwarts still carried traces of magic used in the wartime, and that this amulet in particular seemed to hold one of the last remaining defensive spells cast by members of Dumbledore's army. Desperate to be free from the curse, Logan asked how he could fulfill the amulet's purpose. Flitwick only gently smiled and said, "You must defend others as it once defended our heroes. Only then will its burden lift." In the weeks that followed, Logan took his new responsibility to heart. He started by helping younger students who were being picked on by older Slytherins. using his wits and growing skill with charms to subtly redirect spells and prevent mishaps. He stayed up late helping his friends study for exams, taught others useful tricks he had learned from his adventures, and even volunteered to help clean up the grounds after a particularly messy Quidditch match. But the true test came on a cold November evening when Logan stumbled upon two terrified first years who had been trapped by a massive acromantula who had wandered far from the Forbidden Forest. Without a second thought, Logan drew his wand and cast a powerful shield charm, something he had practiced tirelessly since finding the amulet. The acromantula skittered back, hissing in frustration, but Logan stood firm, his heart pounding. With a flick of his wand and every ounce of courage he had, he managed to drive the creature back into the forest, allowing the first years to escape unharmed. In that moment, as he shielded the young students, he felt a surge of warmth spreading through him. The icy grip of the amulet released, and he knew he had finally fulfilled its purpose. The weight of his arm lifted, and he felt lighter, freer, as though he had inherited something powerful, a piece of courage left behind by Harry and his friends. As the word of Logan's bravery began to spread throughout Hogwarts, he became something of a hero in his own right. Whispers filled the halls of Hogwarts of the boy who had taken a piece of Harry Potter's legacy, the Ravenclaw, who had discovered the Room of Shadows. But for Logan, the real reward was not the glory. It was the knowledge that he, too, had the power to protect others, to become a defender in the way that Harry, Hermione, and Ron once had. In the end, Logan realized that true bravery wasn't in the magic or the mysteries of Hogwarts, but in the simple act of helping others. And every time he passed by that worn wall in the dungeons, he felt a quiet pride, knowing that he had become part of Hogwarts' storied history, just like the legends that had inspired him.